Surprise! Hello, my English speaking viewers. For those who have been here on my YouTube channel before, it will be very surprising to see me here. Not only my hands, which always flicker so fast under the camera and sort through a lot of different jars with paints and bottles with sprays and other interesting things that are so new for those who has just started their way in mixed media. And especially for newbies, I decided to record a series of videos that will be short but I hope useful, in which we will talk about different products that exist in our hobby. For those who have been in mixed media for a while, of course it won't be interesting, so you may skip this video and maybe watch my other tutorials. And my first video will be dedicated to texture paste and stencils. So one more thing, I'm sorry for my pronunciation and for my mistakes. English isn't my native language. And so let's start our first unit. So I will start with the tools. There are silicone brushes for applying texture paste. I think they have several different variations, and a palette knives. I have metal and there are also plastic ones. If you have absolutely nothing, then you can use a plastic card, for example. I took a canvas, we will work with it, and probably we will need some pieces of papers. Now about texture paste. They exist of different types and consistencies with the addition of sand and some other particles, colored pastes, paste with the crackle effects, and they can be also different colors. You may add some pigments, powders to the texture paste or any paint that you have, for example acrylic, to make the paste with color. Also, you can even drip something more liquid in the texture paste, for example sprays, but your paste should be thick enough to mix it with liquids, and apply it both independently and through a stencil. Look, stencils are also different. There are many manufacturers of both paste and stencils of any configuration for every taste and budget, but the denser the stencil is, the easier it is to work with it. When the stencil is soft, it is more difficult to apply texture paste through it. Texture paste can be applied independently to any surface with strokes or pattern movements to give additional texture to the project. Or you can let the paste dry a little and then go through it with a palette knife or brush to make stains. It all depends on how your imagination works and what effect you need. Now I'm gonna try to mix texture paste with something, for example with paint. I'm taking acrylic paint. This acrylic paint is quite thick, so it will give a good consistency. Mix it well. Take a stencil and go through it. Here are a few important rules. When you are working with a stencil, it should be well pressed so that the paint does not flow under, and we hold the palette knife at an angle of 45 degrees. Stencil and palette knives should be washed immediately because paints and pastes dry quickly and you can ruin a stencil. Clean the excess of this mixture. Now I will try to mix paste with a pigment powder, for example mica powder. Mixing carefully and applying through a stencil. Press with one hand and apply with another. The less such movements you make, the less likely it is that the paste will be under the stencil. Crackle paste I like to apply without a stencil, just on some areas of a project. Paste with the crackle effect works in such a way that the thicker the layer, the larger the cracks, and the smaller the layer, the finer the cracks. But it will be visible after drying. Colored pastes are applied in the same way as other pastes. You may also use thick acrylic paints instead texture paste. But I do not use this method very often. But it is always opportunity for experiments. You may also create your own paste, adding any small beads, glitter or sand to common paste. There are also transparent texture pastes that also could be mixed with glitter, for example. So use your own imagination, and happy crafting to you.